welcome to Tamela and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday, where we talk about treats, business, and life. This week, we are going to be interviewing our very own co host, Tamela. I'm so excited about it, and I can't wait for her to tell you guys everything about Torlitas. Before that, though, I'm going to introduce myself. I am Taylor from Michigan with the company Sweet Spirit Treats, where we do sweet treats for your special occasions. We do custom cookies, cakes, cake pops, and everything covered in chocolate. So that is my spiel, and Tamla is going to introduce herself.
Hi, thank you, Taylor. I am Tamela Walker. I am the owner of Torlitas for that sweet and crunchy taste. Torlitas is a dessert company located right here in the great state of Ohio, where we specialize in salty, sweet treats. If you want to know more about me and my business, go to at Torlitas. That's T as in Tuesday, Orlitas.
Yes, so we thought that it would be nice for you guys kind of to get a introduction into who we are. Um, we're treat makers, obviously. But this week we're gonna focus on Tamla. Tell us how you got started with Torlitas.
So it's funny because back in the day, I always thought that nobody would want to know my story, and here it is, probably 20 years later. I'm still telling the story. So Torlitas was created out of an actual dream, not something I thought of it up in my head, an actual sleep and then wake up. Oh, huh. What about that dream? And it was back in the year 2000, and I was at the time purchasing a home. And anybody been through the process know that it can be a stressful process.
Yeah.
And I came home from work, I took a nap, and next thing you know, I dreamt of peach juice and tortilla chips. I'm like, huh, that don't sound right. What about chocolate? So I went down to my kitchen and I gathered together some ingredients, and that's how Torlitas was born. Actually, I shared them with my roommate at the time, and he loved them. He loved them, and he said, "Oh, these are really good." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I took them. I created another batch, and I took them into work the next day, and I gave everyone a survey on what they liked and what they didn't like. And at that time, that was my testing ground and my test market. So everyone loved them, and they said, "Hey, you should make this a business." And I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, no, I can't leave my government job. Oh, you crazy?"
Right. So
So
tell us a little bit more about what made you decide to do a survey, because most time people just like get information. A couple people are like, yeah, that's okay. I guess maybe I want some. Another time. But what about you made you feel like I need like more information about this? I need to gather the information, or I need to do a testing in this way.
So prior to me creating this project, I have a undergrad in business administration and
Hmm.
also a master's in business administration with an emphasis in entrepreneurship. So around 2000, I think I was still doing my undergrad. So I knew that I just had a natural interest in marketing and business, and I knew that I had to ask people what they thought about the product. So I knew firsthand that in order for this product to grow, I needed to know what worked and what didn't. So let me back up a little bit. So when I took the batch into my job, I had several different types of tortilla chips that I used and different toppings that I used. So I gave them a survey, what they liked and what they didn't like. And, and it kind of grew from there down to my signature blondie, which is a white corn tortilla chip with milk chocolate, white chocolate, and almond toffee pieces. And I think I forgot to say that in the beginning, what actually a torlita is.
I was just about to ask you that.
I get
Yeah,
so
so yeah,
it's so far for
explain.
me, it's
Yeah.
so routine for me. I forget people doesn't really don't know what it is.
Yeah, because we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. When I say a blondie, it's like a brownie consistency, and you're like, no, that's not the same as my blondie. You know what I mean? So it's all about like um, getting the information out and like educating people on what you actually do, because it's probably a process. I know you have it like down to a science because we talked about it a couple of times, and you're like, it takes me 20 seconds to do this chip, and then I can get like 50 done, and I'm like, man, I don't have it down exactly, to a science of how long it's going to take me to do like a cake. I'm getting better at it, but I'm like, man, you really have it down pat.
Yes, so Torlitas are white corn tortilla chips with different chocolates and toppings. I started with my signature blondie, which is a white corn tortilla chip with milk chocolate, white chocolate, and almond toffee pieces. And then it grew from there. I have over a dozen varieties, and some are seasonal. So let me go down the list of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, what I create. So there are signature blondies. There are turtles with the bucket shaped tortilla chips with
Mhm.
a layer of caramel topped with the greatest, the best milk chocolate and a roasted almond or almond pecan. And then there are Mint for Me. And these are all names that I came up with. So Mint for Me is a white corn tortilla chip with dark chocolate and flavored peppermint and a mint green chocolate topping. And then there's peanut butter crunch. There are my signature, or excuse me, my citrus bunch, which I do in the summertime, which is uh, orange delicious, sunny
They look,
lemon, and
they look delicious.
key lime
When you
pie.
when you put up that picture of the orange ones and the key lime pie, I'm like, oh my goodness, I just need to call and order some right now today.
Exactly. My citrus bunch always, and actually, the Orange Delicious tastes just like you were sitting on the curb in the summertime as a child with a push-up pop, orange
Yeah,
push-up from the popsicle man. That's exactly what it is, but it has a twist with the crunch and also the salty sweet. So it's a perfect combination. And that was something that grew out of, I became a fan favorite. So I make those year round now, not just for the spring, summertime. And then I
yeah.
have peppermint bark for the winter time. And then I make various other types of torlitas. I make chocolate covered Oreos and pretzels, my out of this world pretzels, caramel wrapped pretzels. And then I did one year, often actually, I do in the fall, which is a s'mores blondie. And I put I char a giant marshmallow and I smash it between two Torlitas, a signature
Oh my
blondie,
goodness.
and I put a caramel layer over that. So it's not the best. You can't just bite down and eat it, but I
Yeah,
think the visual of it is just perfect, and people love it. So
yeah, that's good. I'm always amazed at the like creativity of people who do like treats, confectionery, and like culinary, because like the different flavor combinations that you have to come up with and things like that, were they requests from different people or did you come up with them all on your own?
well, primarily I came up with them on my own, but I do customize my product to
Mhm.
a flavor, a color that is requested by my customer. And customers are always right. Now, there are challenges, but there are limitations too
Yeah.
of what is possible. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes I said, hey, I'm not able to do that, but what about this option? So you always want to make sure that the customer is feeling like they're have some quote unquote skin in the game.
Yeah.
And that they're, because they're very specific, they have their idea in mind of what it's going to look like on their table. They know
Mhm.
exactly who their guests are and what type of impression they're trying to give. So
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the trademarking that you have going on with Torlitas.
yeah, so at my core, I am an inventor. I've always wanted to invent. I've always wanted to invent products and services that just makes life a little bit easier. So in when I began Torlitas LLC is a limited liability company. I want to say that as well. I am registered with the state of Ohio. And when I created Torlitas back in the day, I started out just servicing family and friends. So I was really building up my customer base, and I was doing test marketing and things like that. So it was really up until a certain time that I became, I said, let me put the stakes down and create a business because I had lost my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of going back and leading you up to the point of the trademark. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to have an invention with a U.S. Patent and Trademark Office ever since I can remember. Growing up, I just wanted to be an inventor. So
Mhm.
who knew, as my mom said, that God had a sweet tooth and gave me Torlita? Because at
Right.
the time, there was sweet and salty is very common these days, but it
Mhm.
wasn't back in the year 2000 when I created Torlita. So I've always wanted a trademark and a patent, but I
Mhm.
didn't know the pathway to get there. I knew that there was an office in Washington, D.C. that I could go to. Also, I knew that I could do a search when the internet became the internet.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself. I'm dating myself. And I could do searches online.
Yeah.
And I knew that it would cost big money to do it.
Right.
Didn't know what big money was at the time, but I knew it was outside my realm of what I could afford. So fast forward to 2020, and I saw an article in my local newspaper that at the time we all know 2020 year is gap year, I call it, and
Yeah.
this program was helping local small businesses, women and minority owned businesses really establish their foundational work to participate in PPP loans for the government. And she is an attorney with a large law firm here in town. And anybody knows if you're a small business or minority business or know of someone, when it became time for PPP, a lot of people didn't know that they could apply for it.
Right.
They didn't have the foundational work. Foundation meaning, are you a licensed business in the state of Ohio? Have you paid the taxes? And are they up to date? What are your financials? Just all those things that a business does to run itself outside of the idea and the
Yeah.
production. It's the stuff that people really get murky in. And it's always a process of growing and understanding.
Right.
So having had those things, in place, I reached out to the phone number and the email in the article, and I asked them, "Hey, would you be able to help me secure a trademark for my product?" And I thought that, I didn't know if they would say yes or no. I just thought, let me try, because
Right.
I'd rather try and have them tell you no
Right.
instead of you telling yourself no. And there's a big difference in that because it goes
Mhm.
beyond yourself, and it goes beyond, you just might surprise yourself and get a yes.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the lady. I'll make this short. I reached out to the lady. Her name is Janae, and she put me in contact with the with a patent and trademark attorney, and they were offering certain services at a very reduced price. And in order for minority and women-owned businesses to get their paperwork in place in order to be able to have a launch pad when the pandemic was over or during the pandemic so they can still have a business and sustain their
Yeah.
business and move forward. So that's how I received my patent, my trademark. It was a series of um, emails and phone calls, and there was a cost that was incurred for my business, but it was not nearly what I would have paid had I not taken part of this program. And I will do a series of a video on how to obtain your trademark in the upcoming days, and I'll post it a little bit later for viewers to see if it's something they're interested in, and go from there.
Great, great, great. I'm so excited because we haven't really gotten to a lot of the things that I personally know about you. So like when you're like, yeah, I worked for like the government, or like I had this business degree, like it shows more of why you do the things you do. You know what I mean? So tell us a little bit more about, did you like business when you were younger? What made you want to go into business even before Torlitas?
So yeah, absolutely. I was always business minded. My parents were always they were real estate, purchased real estate. They had full-time jobs. My dad worked two full-time jobs at 5 days a week. So we were always in the forward moving mode and bettering our lives. So I saw my parents who read the newspapers, who had discussions about politics,
Mhm.
who knew how to do business, had a mind for business. And I don't know if they were really at a were doing business, but they knew that in order to move the family forward and to invest in the future, they bought assets, which were homes in the community.
Right.
So I saw them do it. And I always thought that I would have a marketing firm in my community because I realized early on that there were a lot of commercials and things like that that really didn't focus on people that looked like me. And
Right.
I knew that people that looked like me had money and they spent the money, whether it was $1 or $1,000 or $100,000. I just knew that they had money and they bought goods. And I felt that in order to reach them, we need to know what drives them. What are their likes? What are they, gravitate to? What are their friends doing and things like that. So I've always wanted a marketing firm in my community. So I think that was a good start in my teens, but it went well beyond that. I was selling the fundraisers at school. I was really serious about it back in
Yeah.
kindergarten, and I had a babysitting job, and I did a whole host of things to make some coin, as they call it today.
Yeah.
But I've always just been that forward mind thing. My mother said I never was a baby. I never was. I'm the youngest of seven,
Yeah.
so I guess I wasn't. I guess my brothers and sisters taught me a lot. So yeah. So
Definitely.
I was always an entrepreneur. I just knew that I wanted to make it. I've
Mhm.
always knew that I wanted to make it. I wanted to have big dreams, a mansion, and a family, and uh, I'm still on my way to doing a few of those things, but I've always had a mind for greater.
Yeah.
Greater, whatever is greater to you is your greater, and whatever is greater to me is my greater. So, and also my
And it,
faith. Let me back up to all of this, okay? Let me not get beside myself. Jesus
yeah.
is the reason, okay? This is my God given product, okay? I said, God, this cannot go anywhere without you, okay?
Yeah.
I am the producer. You are the creator. So whatever you want to do with this product, I'm your vessel. So let me say that first, okay? So don't get it twisted. I might not be who all I need to be, but let me tell you, I can tell you what I do know, and that
Yeah.
is that God is the leader of my product in my life. So I try to do things in excellence, and you know, So we'll go from there.
Yeah, definitely. It's beautiful that you always incorporate your faith. And I think a lot of times people may be like afraid to say that God is who he is and that he's the head of their life. But something about his character shows through people, even without them speaking. Just like you can see someone who has a presence of darkness around them, you can also see people who have a presence of light around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited that you said it. I'm excited that you acknowledge God. Because you're always like, oh, God gave me this dream. He told me about Torlitas. And so yeah, it's great. It's great that you produced. It's great that you have had. Let's tell us about some of the successes that you have had with Torlitas.
Wow, some successes. I was featured on the Chew television show by celebrity chef Carla Hall. I have met the mayor of the city of Columbus with my product. The list goes on. I was voted top 4 best bite sweet treat in a out of how many vendors? Nearly 40 vendors, and they were pretty prominent and national brands that I beat out at the time. This is a couple years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And they were everything. They were. It was a sweet treat festival, and I
Mhm.
went out top 4 out of Jenny's, Velvet Ice Cream, some very national big brands. Even though I love those brands, it was kind of like my Home Alone moment. So it's like, really, I beat out those,
Yeah.
big brands. So I knew that I had something that people loved, and I really had to, get beyond myself thinking that it's just mine.
Hmm.
And it's definitely a process. It's
Yeah.
definitely a process of growing your brand and
Mhm.
growing your product. Even though 50 people might do it, even though 100 people might do it, they don't do it like you do. And guess what? People buy from people that they like, that they know, and that they trust. How many times have we heard that, Taylor? No, like,
Lots
trust factor.
of time.
The
Yes,
no,
it's
like, trust
definitely a thing.
factor.
Yes, yes, yes.
And a part of that also is that even though your product may be something that everybody can go to this place or that place and get, they don't make it like you do. They don't have the same design like you do. They don't look like you do. They don't sound like you do. You might remind someone of their family member or sister or a friend. And people buy from people they like. So I just want to make sure our audience knows that even though you have a product that might seem, oh, it's just this or it's just that, I just do this with it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
She
Do it.
tells me this
Put it
all
out
the
there.
time, guys.
Yeah.
She's a great encourager, great
Um,
motivator as well. And
yeah, I try to be.
we have many discussions. And she's like, just do it. I'm like, okay, all right,
That's
very
pretty much it. Sometimes I have to
good. You're right.
and realize that everybody, don't want to have a business doing it. I had to realize I like to see the successes of people. I like to see it work. I want to know what's not working. Let's figure it out. What's not working, and let's find a way to get it to work. So, I not only deal with treat makers, I deal with other business owners as well. And so, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us more about your, you said you wanted to do like a marketing company. So Tamela does not only run Torlitas, she also has another company that she runs as well. So you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
So during the gap year, pandemic year and a half, or whatever it's called now, uh, there was no one, everyone was probably quarantining. And if you know anything about the pandemic as a business, most businesses, not all, most businesses, um, their production came to a halt, a stop. And also everything else. So there was no money flowing in and things like that. And prior to that, it was kind of, it was a little dicey, before the pandemic for my business. But going forward, um, everything came to a stop. So I had to figure out a new way to do things. So I belong to a local organization that's a business nonprofit in the community called the Greater Linden Business Network, where we help area businesses grow and succeed in the area or industry where they are. And I knew that just by a natural attraction to technology, to marketing, and things like that, I was helping people with their social media as well as their marketing for their companies. I would get asked questions. I was asked questions. I was given advice. People would come to me, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you attach your email? So knowing that I work with a older um, population,
Mhm.
and I knew that people in over 40 really didn't grow up with a lot of technology that's today. And the old school way of reaching customers and communicating with customers
Mhm.
is really fading fast.
Right.
And the traditional newspaper articles, radio spots, and face to face, of course, during the pandemic, that was like, we're not doing it. Face to face
Yeah.
interaction was really a big way that they thought that things could get done. Well, when that happened, the digital world really kicked into high gear, how to reach your customers, how to get the coin, how to make sure that you don't lose customers, how to gain new customers. So I created a pivot company called Want Day Digital Marketing, where I say, baby, it's your want day. And that story, it's a story behind that title of the company, but that also came out of a dream. So maybe I just dream up companies. I don't know. Maybe I do. But so I created a company called One Day Digital Marketing, where I specialize in the over 40 small business owner who really hates technology. That's what it comes down to, but they know they need a presence online. So they come to me and say, hey, I got this company. I know I should be online. I tried my daughter, I tried my son, my grandkids, but they won't call me back.
Right.
And
They don't got
how do I
time for
do
me
this?
right now.
Yeah, how do I do this? How do I attach an email to a text message? How do I use my smartphone? How do I use my tablet? What's an app? And all these things are being thrown at them at a time
Yeah.
where they're like, everything is falling apart around the world. Yeah,
Right.
my business is falling apart. How do I get online? What are the steps to do that? How to get on onboarding? What's TikTok? So I really cater to that crowd and help them with their social media content. I provide onboarding to social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and the list goes on. In addition to creating websites for them and flyers and posts to their website for them. And it's really exciting, and it's a benefit, and it's a benefit to the company as well as for me, because I'm helping them grow in their technology
Yeah.
language, so to speak. And it's really exciting. Some people are like, just give me just go do it. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Just do it and just
You're right.
send me the invoice. So you get those people as well. But it's really fulfilling.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it seems like when people well when you specifically you pick jobs that are fulfilling, that you can help serve people, especially with food. I always feel like food is a great way to serve people, because not only do everyone have to eat every day, but just like having something that's like comforting, that's a big bonus when you care. when you make a product, it shows that you care, from the packaging that you put into, the effort, all of that shows who you are as a person. So, yeah.
Exactly. Working on getting it down to a science and growing the brand, but still, stumbling along the way. I don't have it all sewed up, so to speak. But definitely I am learning as of today.
Yeah. And that's how we even met, because we both are in an educational program for social media. And
Mhm.
so that's how Tamela and Taylor's Street Talk Tuesday have came to be. And I think this is like maybe our 23rd episode. So we are being very consistent, okay?
Every Tuesday we're here.
Excited about the consistency. So we met in December. We both signed up for a program, and at first I wasn't going to sign up for the program because I was like, I don't really know if this is going to help me, because it's not specifically the area, but it is the outcome that I wanted to achieve through the program. And so I typed on there, does anybody do anything but like baking? And Tamela reached out to me. So that's how we started Tamela and Taylor Street Talk Tuesday. Yeah.
That's right.
So God will put people in your life that are supposed to be there for the right time.
Let me tell you, you just said something where kind of reminded me of an event. If anyone knows about crowdfunding, that's where people come together to support your cause and give you funding, sometime in exchange for something else. But a lot of people just want to support someone that's doing something that they believe in. And I
Yeah.
was the first Kiva fellow, that's KIVA, crowdfunding fellow right here in the city of Columbus. And it's amazing the amount of people, perfect strangers, who wants to support you in
Right.
your efforts. And I had a whole great team that I worked with that that helped me along the way for a small loan that helped me buy equipment for my company that I still use today. So I'm
Yeah.
saying to all of you out there, don't be afraid to try. Link up with your local business organizations, your state, your county, your city, small business or minority business. If you're not a minority person, just go to the small business office, because there are resources there, a lot of times free of charge, that can help you if you just open up yourself and open up your mind and open up your mouth and say, hey, I need help in this area. So I know a
Right.
lot of people, especially people that look like me and look like you, they shun away from those organizations because a person staring back at them doesn't look like them. And that is not always the case, to be shy or to be put off or think that they want to say no to you. They're
Yeah.
paid to say yes to you in most cases. Not, I don't want to, that sounds bad. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I really want to say is
It is their job to be there for you. And if
and
you
to
feel,
help you.
yeah,
Because when
you
you
know,
win, the state wins, the federal government wins when you pay your taxes. So they want you to succeed.
right.
And even though um, there are a lot of failures in small business, and especially people that are the minority groups, there are a lot of failures and people give up. It's not a sprint. You hear that all the time. It's not a sprint. It is a marathon. You're gonna keep going. How many times have I wanted to quit? How many how many times? How many times have I cried?
Right.
It makes me get welled up right now. How many times have I cried and said, God, this is not working. This is not working. I can't do it anymore. It's been so long. People started looking at you. Well, aren't you supposed to be doing this? Aren't you that person? Why aren't why haven't you succeeded? Well, you don't have this by now.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that, when you're doing something that's really important to you. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. I'm really emotional.
It's okay. when you're doing something that's important to you, don't give up on it, no matter what people think.
We'll get it together in a minute.
That's okay. Take your time. I think
I'm messed up. I'm messed up right now.
it's okay. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to understand and to just be grateful and thankful for everything that you have overcome. I know that we can't say everything or every part of our story that leads us to where we are at that point, but anyone who is in entrepreneurship or anyone who is in a space where they are creating, it can be taxing on you, especially when you listen to the voices of other people who believe you should be at a certain place by a certain time. I just actually was reading a post about some actresses, and they were saying they didn't get their big breaks until they were like 40 and 50. And I'm over here like, oh, you know, 30s is just like, oh my goodness, I need to do so much more, but just be excited about where you are, because it doesn't have to be where you're going to end up. And another great point that I wanted to bring out is that when you educate yourself, that's when your business grows. That's when you get more 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 help in the day-to-day things. When you start to pour into yourself, and not always just for financial gain. Yes, you don't want to be in the same place forever, but once you find something where you're helping or you're serving, you get a different level of fulfillment than it just being for selfish reasons.
Right.
I've heard before that money is a magnifier. So if you see one who is rich and they are a jerk, they were a jerk when they were poor. The money
Yeah.
just magnified their arrogance. If you see one who was kind and giving, they were kind and giving before they received the money. They just were magnified. Their actions are magnified, and more people are looking at them now because they do have those things. So working on character building is great, no matter what age you are. Those things really help in business, especially if you're doing a service-based business, because you're gonna be working with people, and people can be demanding. They can be total jerks. Customers can be total jerks, but you're also going to run into some people who are very sweet, who are very kind, who care about your business as much as you care about your business. You might even run into some clients that say, hey, I want this. And they're like, and then you're like, you might be nervous, like, I don't want to tell them it's more than $100. I remember the first time, like, I told someone something was like $100. I was like shaking, like, I don't think that they're, and they were like, yeah, I don't care. Just it's because you made it, and I feel like you're a great person. And so you have
a great product.
Yeah, you have a great product. And so you have to work on yourself, and your business will grow because of that. And I think Tamela is a great testament to that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for sharing that. I'm back. But what I wanted to also add, in addition to that, I really want our audience to know that I've failed so many times. I've had customers, I've done custom jobs for people. Well, it only took me a couple times to understand and realize that, okay, we're gonna have to prepay from now on.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of customers who I did exactly what they wanted, the amount that they wanted, specialized colors and everything. And when it came time to saying, hey, your product is complete and done, you're ready to pick it up. And they were nowhere to be found. I ran down their numbers and all this other kinds of stuff, and was kind and left messages and texts. And then they finally called me back. I don't know, maybe it was that day. It's all a blur now because it's been so long ago. Okay. Note that well, can't you sell it to somebody else? I'm like, no, I can't. This is specialized for you. This is your special colors that you wanted.
Yeah.
So it took a couple times around, for me to understand that if someone wants something custom or specialized, it's important to get half up front at least, because I understand that it's a tough time right now where sometimes you say you can pay on it until you get to the balance and then we can make the product. Because a lot of people, everybody's money, not everybody, people's money is funny. And even though they want your product, but you put in the time, the effort, the expense, the runaround, the late night or early morning to try and get this product done at the time that they specified, and you're left with all the expense and the product, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that happens. That's just growth. It's just part of business, and it's not going to be rosy all the time, but it's important to think about upfront how you're going to run your business. And the thing about it is, if the price point is too much, then it's not your customer. Okay,
Right.
sometimes we can work with somebody. We all understand working with somebody, what can be done and what cannot be done. But for the people like, well, I can go buy this someplace else, or I can go buy that someplace else down the street, around the corner from Susie, from Jaquan, or whatever. But it's not you and it's not your product. And this is what you
Right.
charge. And maybe we can catch up with you next time, because you have to go on, because you realize if this is your business and not just a hobby, then you know that you have lights to pay, you have insurance to pay, you have your type of ingredients to buy, and some of it is not easy just right around the corner to go get it. So, yeah, I just want to make sure people know that. And the other side of business, you might have this in your questioning, but I want to say about the things that didn't work, that I'm still, things that I have had challenges with, and that's with inventory. I'm horrible. I'm horrible. I'm horrible. So if anybody out there has a great inventory platform that I could use, I'm all ears. So send it in, DM me, or what have you. But I'm horrible with inventory. I cannot get it down. I need an assistant. I want to hire people. I want to have my own distribution spot. So I'm working towards some great things. So hopefully uh, they're going to come to pass, God willing. But also get out your own way.
Yeah. So that is Tamela's words of encouragement for this week. We are so excited to be here. I'm excited to have interviewed you. I feel like people are going to get a lot from this. And if you would like to be on Tamela and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday, please email us at treattalktuesday@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram where we post weekly, we post sometimes daily. We post on there, okay? And you can get in contact with us that way if you would like to. And that is Tamela Taylor's Treat Talk on Instagram. And last but not least, I am Taylor, owner of Taylor's Kitchen. With my Instagram is Sweet Spirit Treats. And I'm gonna let Tamela say goodbye and tell us more about her and where you can find her before we get out of here.
So this has been a really exciting opportunity to share with all of you, and especially you, Taylor, for being my best co-host that anyone could ask for in this journey. Who knew that we would be doing a podcast? I certainly didn't know I would be doing a podcast. It's certainly not 6 months in doing an every Tuesday podcast. And I think that this is something that we can continue on as long as the people want to hear from us. And we love to hear your feedback, like, share, comment. If you want to be a part of our Tamela and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday, we'd love to interview you. And let me tell you this, you don't have to be a treat maker because we talk about what, Taylor? Three things: treats, business,
Business
and
and
life.
life.
Exactly. So if you are a widget maker, widget meaning any type of thing, you have a product or service that you offer to people, we'd love to interview you. We have openings every month, and our calendar for July is open. And if you would love to be a part of our platform on YouTube, on Anchor.fm, on Spotify, or any place that people listen to their podcasts, we would love to have you. Email us at what, Taylor? You know I never can remember.
treattalk@gmail.com.
Treat Talk Tuesday, did you say? Treat Talk Tuesday
See,
at
now I'm messing
gmail.com.
up. treattalktuesday@gmail.com.
See, that's
We'll
why
put
we're
in the
together. That's why
little
we're
thing
co-hosts.
down
We
there.
can bounce off each other.
Somewhere down here.
Yeah. Maybe we'll put it here. You know how they point here and there.
Right here.
And and if
Think over
we,
here.
yeah, yeah. And also, I want to say, we're looking to do some new things with our podcast. So, if you have any suggestions about the look and feel of our podcast, I would love to hear feedback on that too. And if we need to bump it up a little bit, that would be great as well. So, yeah, you've been listening to Tamela and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday, where we have a podcast every Tuesday where you listen to your podcast or on YouTube. And please check out our Instagram pages. And we're going to say, be blessed, have a great week, and peace out, homie.
Bye.
Peace out, homie. All right, bye bye.